Welcome to the LeaderImpact podcast. We are a community of leaders with a network in over 350 cities around the world, dedicated to optimizing our personal, professional, and spiritual lives to have impact. This show is where we have a chance to listen and engage with leaders who are living this out. We love talking with leaders, so if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions to make the show even better, please let us know. The best way to stay connected in Canada is through our newsletter at leaderimpact.ca or on social media at LeaderImpact. And if you're listening from outside of Canada, check out our website at leaderimpact.com. I'm your host, Lisa Peters, and welcome to our podcast with Calvin Quek. Calvin is the founder and owner of Brightmark, a Salesforce consultancy based in Toronto. He has spent the last 15 years consulting with hundreds of companies on how to deliver stellar customer relationship management experiences through the adoption of cloud technologies. Calvin understands the specialized needs and true potential of Salesforce for companies in the financial services sector and has developed a practice helping nonprofits take advantage of Salesforce and related technologies. Before Brightmark, Calvin co-founded another $4 million Salesforce consulting firm called Shift CRM. And then he ventured a little further on his entrepreneurial journey, and in 2021, he co-founded Lumishield, a Canadian manufacturer of the highest performing mobile air purifiers, specifically designed to clean larger spaces. They invented their own air purifier that cleans the air 3 to 5 times faster than other brands to help customers achieve higher levels of clean air changes per hour, a solution that is mobile and easy to deploy. As Lumishield CEO, Calvin leads their go-to market strategy and business development. He is on a mission to help organizations achieve the highest levels of indoor air quality in their community spaces. He wants to help communities flourish by bringing their people back together indoors safely. Welcome to the show, Calvin. I am super excited to chat with you about bigger financial risks, bigger steps, and having a joyfully generous year. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Lisa. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, so I'm going to tell everybody that this morning I sent Calvin the link, and it was 7 a.m. And unfortunately, I am a female who's got to do everything. And I was in my pajamas. I sent Calvin the link, and then I follow up with a quick email to say, hey, in case you didn't get the link, it goes to junk. Calvin clicks on, and I'm in my PJs. So Calvin, we're like besties now.
Yes, I like to be prepared, and I wanted to make sure everything was going to work. So yeah, but it was nice to catch you in that, and I think you just look just as great.
Thanks. Yeah, so I'm really excited to chat with you. I know that you've got some different things on the go. Amazing that you started a company right during. I mean, it's an air purifier right during COVID. How cool is that? But so exciting that you kept the momentum going, as an entrepreneur, and that spirit, just, I'm going to do something. So I'm excited to get going on this. I know you have a great personal, professional, and spiritual journey. So we're going to jump in. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. So I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, because I love hearing a little bit about people, and I know that's important just to sort of hear a little snippet of who Calvin is and maybe a funny or memorable story from your childhood.
Yeah. So I actually was born in Singapore, and we moved to Canada in '94 when I was about 10 years old. And so, a lot of my childhood memories is really about making that transition, from Singapore, being a city country, and moving to Vancouver, BC, where I grew up. And, so certainly just loved having that much more space and lots more nature. I mean, British Columbia is just beautiful. Yeah. Vancouver is a beautiful city to grow up in. But I actually moved out to Toronto in 2004, and I've been in Toronto ever since. Met my then girlfriend, now wife, Peggy, and we've got 2 kids, Haley and Elias. So they're, one of each, keeps us on our toes. And
one in each hand, I always say. That's enough.
Yes, that's right. Yep. That was our thought, which actually leads me to the maybe memorable childhood memories. So I remember I was 14 years old. We were having dinner, and my mom basically shared that she was expecting another child. And I'm 14. My younger brother, Casey, was 10 at the time. So basically, it had been 10 years where it was just the two of us. And all of a sudden, she springs this news that we're going to have our third brother, Cullen. And I remember just standing up at the kitchen table in shock, like, really? And yeah, so, fond memories of, helping out with Cullen,
Hmm.
who, as a baby, changing his diapers, and I'll always hold that to him. And then 4 years after that, we actually got another brother, Cohen. And, so yeah.
Wow. That's a big gap for a woman. Usually we put them, not that we put them out, but like we have them
Mhm.
together.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think for my parents to wait that long, I kind of joke and say that they were just waiting till my brother Casey and I were old enough to
Yes.
help out, and then they had those extra hands. Yeah.
That is why they do it. Yes, Calvin. So you are right. Oh man. So your brothers to this day, you hold it against them that you change their diapers and
Oh yeah. These
yeah.
will be things that will be shared at Cullen's
Oh,
wedding day for sure. And but no, they're great, and actually a number of them, a couple of my brothers have worked for me with my business, so
good.
it's been good. Yeah.
So is your family was in Vancouver? Did some of them move to Toronto?
Yeah, so Cullen actually moved out to Toronto to come work with me, and so he's actually in the consulting space now with Salesforce too. And then my youngest brother is actually studying business at Simon Fraser University, and but in the summers he's actually been helping us out with consulting work too. Just a
Good.
great skill for him to learn technology and how to work with businesses or consult with businesses. So
Mhm.
yeah, he actually just reached out and wants to work with us again starting in May. Yeah.
Good. Oh, it's nice to have family there with you. Good. So we're going to switch. I want to hear a little bit about your two companies. I'm excited to hear about them because Brightmark and Lumishield they're two very different companies. So we got a CRM and then a mobile air purifier. So I'd like to hear more about that. And I'm wondering if you had any of those pivotal moments that, maybe the switch or, we talked about Salesforce, and then you went on to Shift CRM and just so many different pivots and any moments that you can share with us that the listeners would be like, yeah, I get that. Those are big ones. So
Yeah, so I think with Brightmark, I've been doing Salesforce for so long. I worked at Salesforce as one of the earlier employees there, and Brightmark's actually my second consulting business focused on Salesforce. So, for me, that's certainly been a big part of my career and my skill set is working with businesses and organizations, helping them figure out their business processes and how those things could be improved with technology. And more recently, I'd actually been spending more time with nonprofits as well, because I really felt this desire to leverage those skills for these nonprofits who very much need that help and may not always be able to afford my services.
Mhm.
And so I think I already was sensing maybe in the last couple of years, definitely during the pandemic, the sense of are there other things that I could be doing, and really through a network of other business people in my faith community that I'm connected with. I met Maurice, who is my partner with Lumishield, and Maurice is an inventor. He runs a lighting design firm. He designs these beautiful lighted mirrors and things that you would see at in hotels or the airport or even at the mall. And he also wanted to start applying his skills towards something that could help with the pandemic. So he's the one that invented the air purifier in its current form. And and so when we started talking, I really got the sense that he needed help kind of bringing it to market,
Mm.
right? That he had this great product, but we need to figure out how to get this out to customers and start building that brand. And for me, I think a lot of these things are things that I've always enjoyed with starting a business. Is building that brand, forming a team, figuring
Mhm.
out all those sorts of things. So I think from that side, I felt like I had sufficient background, but I'm certainly learning a lot about manufacturing. Getting very hands-on and ordering parts, and all these sorts of things that I would never need to do in the software business that I'm getting hands-on with now. But again, what I love is that it's a tangible product, right? You can see, you
Mhm.
can touch, and you can experience the air purifier, and also know that it's making a difference, and
Yeah.
something that can help people. Yeah.
Right. I love and that's really I love that about it is that you feel that you are making a difference, and you are. I mean, air purifiers right now are a big thing. How is Lumishield doing right now?
Yeah, I think it's been a lot more challenging getting into the market as we thought. I think part of it is, we only started the company last summer, and our product was ready to start shipping this past month. And so I think part of it is there's obviously a lot of changes happening right now, with mandates being lifted and things like that.
Mhm.
I think a lot of companies that we are talking to are interested, but they're also a bit fatigued, with thinking
Mm.
about doing something about COVID. So I think we're still very optimistic. We've got some great partners through Staples and a few others that are representing us now, and it could be more of a timing thing, right? And so yeah.
I think depending wherever you are in Canada or around the world, the rules are different. I'm in Saskatchewan, you're in Toronto. People
Hmm.
listening are all around the world, and not everyone is. I mean, maybe by the time this airs, everyone will be open, but um, we're all in a different space. And you talk about fatigue, and people are just like, oh, I'm so done. And I'm sure CEOs and buyers, it's just like, I just need a break, or
Hmm.
so. I
Yeah.
know you'll do great.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because we were just thinking, Asia, there are countries in Asia, for instance, that are still experiencing, increased cases and things. So, yeah, I think it's really going to be about doing that research, making more connections, getting the word out there that we have a great option to consider. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're the customer relationship management guy.
That's
So
right. Yeah.
there you go. So how is Brightmark? I mean,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
you
So,
you
so
found a
Bright,
niche, I think.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
with Brightmark, and actually Brightmark's really what allowed me to spend more time, building up this new company is
Hmm.
I built a great team. When I started Brightmark, I found some really good people to kind of work for me, and some of them actually are now partnered with me. And they, we're in the financial services industry, so it's a key industry for Canada. So great market to be in. And yeah, definitely with everyone working from home, there's been a lot greater emphasis for our clients to figure out how to allow for that to happen, right? That their staff have everything they need technology wise, CRM wise to do their work from home.
Yeah.
So yeah, our business has continued to thrive, and we're in fact, I think we're excited to just get out there and start meeting our clients again. We were using Zoom before most people started using Zoom. And so I think there's this sense of let's get back out there and spend time with our clients in person. Yeah.
I wonder if some people can really resonate with, Brightmark was doing well, and then you start a new company. And I'm sure, what, it's kind of a side gig. It's a passion, it's a love, but you still have to do the other job. We need to make money. I get that. But when you get to sort of put your passion into something, and, making the world better, making the rooms better that we walk into, the air is better. Like, I love that. So,
Mhm.
so thanks, because that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you, before we sort of switch into what we really want to talk about, and we talk generously giving, because I think you're a great topic for that, or a great person to talk about, some of the best professional advice you have ever received. Have you ever, what can you share with us?
Oh yeah, I've learned so much. I can think of, for instance, my first manager at Salesforce. One of his mottos that he taught the sales team was never. Sorry, better, never best. Better, never best. So this sense that we can always do better,
Mm.
and don't kind of just settle on thinking that you're the best. And I think that is so applicable in so many ways, but just really for me, it sparks the sense of intentionality to improve and to learn. So I think, if you think that you're the best, I think there may be that tendency not to keep kind of learning and growing and developing. But if you say, hey, there's people that are smarter than me, better than me, whether it's a competitor or what have you, then I'm going to think about, well, what do I need to do about that? What can I do to improve? So I think that's something that's really stuck with me in everything, whether it's small things like preparing for a meeting, or asking for feedback, and asking, well, how could I do better? Yeah.
Yeah. It's that word intentional, I feel, and I don't know if it's just in my current leadership journey, that word is just, I feel like it's my word of the year. Just be intentional in your leadership, be intentional in what you're doing. I really, that's my word of the year.
Yeah, I think that's a big one for me. It's something I use a lot with anyone I talk to, whether it's my staff or partners or people that I mentor, is, bring that level of intentionality to all aspects of your life, right? Not just the workplace, but with your family, with your kids, and I think that is, what would that look like, right? If you were intentional and not just multitasking and being torn in so many different directions as that can happen.
That's a great comment. All right. Well, we're going to transition a bit, because I think many people, you talked about, I sort of mentioned just that passion, right? You went from one company and really wanted to make a difference. And a lot of people want to connect their passion with their careers. And we all want to love what we do all day. And some of us don't, but we really do admire those people that do. And where I think the struggle is really to understand, how does a CRM company and then a mobile air purifier company, how does it integrate into your spiritual side? So, because I think we don't all need to work for a not-for-profit or go on a missions trip or be a pastor to make a difference. Mm-hmm. We can make a difference as a CRM company or a mobile air purifier or a secretary. Like, we can make a difference being intentional. So my question for you is just, I'd like you to, share right now about integrating your spiritual side into your career and professional, because we all can do it. It's just, what level do we do it at, and be intentional? We all have skills.
Yeah. I think that's a great question. So for me, I think about the contrast between my first consulting business, Shift, that I started with a number of other partners, and what I ended up doing with Brightmark. So I think at Shift, when I thought about being intentional in terms of just giving back, I think it was more of a bit of an afterthought, right? So as we made money, we made profits, I would say, okay, I'm going to set aside some of that for, my church or these charities. But it wasn't really an integrated part of our essence as an organization, that we didn't see it as really just kind of the fruits of being successful in business. Mm-hmm. With Brightmark, I really looked at it as, well, one, it was easier because I owned the business, so I could make a lot of those decisions. But I really told myself that this Brightmark can't exist just to generate more profits for me, to just keep growing my own kind of portfolio or nest egg, and also just looking at beyond just the money, but saying, hey, we have this really valuable set of skills and experiences, and actually Salesforce has a great set of products specifically for nonprofits. They have a very generous program where they donate licenses and they offer big discounts. But what's missing there is they need consultants like us to help these charities actually discover this technology. And because a lot of them think Salesforce, that's not for a nonprofit, that's for a big enterprise company. And so a lot of my time was really just shifting into saying, well, I'm going to spend more time just educating these charities on what it is. And so I think that's where things really started to come alive for me, is I could look at Brightmark as a business, not just to generate money that I could give, but then also leverage my skill set, leverage my team. And actually that's been really fun too, is to involve my employees. We give them actual paid volunteer hours or days each quarter that they can use to give back to charities as well. And so, just trying to be more integrated. And then, of course, with the air purifier business, that's kind of taken a whole different form, because now it's, I think the nice thing for Marisa and I is, because we both have our respective companies, when we started Lumishield, we didn't need it to generate income for us right away. And I think that's been really freeing for us to say, you know what, let's leave the money, the cash in the business to help it grow, so that we can have a broader reach, a broader impact on more organizations. For instance, there's a school that ordered 6 units from us recently that we'll be delivering to, and we're just excited because they can use that to make it easier for them to resume their extracurricular activities. So I think that for us has been really cool, just to be in a more tangible way to give back.
I wonder, as I listen to you, giving back is good business, because and not that we do it to receive, but it is good business. So I wonder, this is like an odd question. Like, did you grow up? Did you watch your parents do this? Have you sort of grown up in that, my parents, their legacy to you was, I'm going to teach you how to give?
Yeah, so I would say probably one of the earlier examples that I saw was my grandfather. He was an architect in Singapore, and he gifted our house there to my father. And it was really that gift that allowed us to move to Canada, because we ended up selling that house and then buying our house in BC. And so that, early on, there's definitely been great examples. My grandmothers, who've, both passed away, were very generous people, and just not just monetarily, but just in serving and making sure that we were fed, the kids were fed first before they even started eating. And so I've had some great examples like that. But I'd say that for me, the biggest kind of transformation was probably when I sold my first consulting business, Shift. That was back in 2014. Soon after that, I was invited to this experience called a Journey of Generosity, and it's a retreat. It was a overnight retreat. As couples were, there were 10 couples invited, and we spent time with the facilitator named Stephen, who is a very successful home builder in Ottawa, and who we later found out actually sponsored or paid for all of our hotel and meals to actually be there with him.
Wow.
And, we were essentially part of this experience where we could enter into this discussion on, what does generosity really mean? What does money mean to us? Is it something that is used to just, kind of help us buy whatever we may need to be happy, and or is there more, that, more to that, and also really explore, our hearts when it comes to money, right? Is money kind of so important to us that it might be getting away of more important things? So anyways, that experience was, I would say, game changing, just to kind of hear these and watch these stories of very generous people that had achieved huge success in business. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars in business, and deciding to give almost all of it away. And for me, that was very jarring. Like, I'd always thought that, I'd never ever considered that as a possibility until you hear these examples.
Yeah.
And so for my wife Peggy and I, that was very transformational in our journey. It caused us to really think about, do we ever have that finish line? Will we ever be satisfied with how much we have? Do we need that bigger house? Do we need more cars? And so on and so forth? Or, what could it look like if we were content and were able to almost kind of break that cycle of what society often tells us, we should be doing, which is make more, buy more stuff, and have more stuff.
Yeah.
And frankly, it's brought a lot of freedom and joy to us. And it's a journey. I think that's a big thing is, over the years, it's caused us to think about some of the decisions that we've made financially. But then also the other piece, which is being able to start giving away more, but doing that more strategically and actually partnering with charities versus just, being very reactive. Yeah.
Right. So in Journey of Generosity, is it just about, because generosity can mean so much more, right? It can be generous with your time, generous with your money. Does it sort of cover both? Because I think of, Brightmark, where you're donating your time to some of the charity groups to help them with their CRM. That's giving of your time. I mean, ultimately it's money you're not making, but you're asking your team, yourself, to give of your time. And sometimes I wonder if people think that's all I have right now. And I don't know if you can,
Yes.
well, how
Yeah.
can you answer that? Like, I don't have any extra money, Calvin. I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah. So and that's a really good point. So when I think of generosity, I think to be generous, it's not just about money. I think it is also time, which for some, I've met people that are very happy to write, a bigger check to a charity, but it's so hard to get their time. And then talent, right? I would say
Yeah.
the skills, the gifts, the abilities that you possess, the experience that you have. I think that's hugely valuable, and sometimes more so than money. But frankly, for me, I look at it holistically, right? Is when I give, I want to be able to almost combine those things together, so that can be more effective. I don't want to just give my time, but if the charity actually needs some dollars to fund that project, I'm going to do that, and or give of my skills. So I think that there are many ways for people to be generous without, even if they don't have money, just by, again, I'm going to bring that I word back of intentionality is, okay, I may not have the dollars in the bank right now, but what else could I do to help? And I think that's the important question that we each need to reflect on.
Yeah. It's just starting the conversation of how I can give generously. And right now it might be small. And as you continue and you move on, is there, and you mentioned this about the finish line, because I sometimes think in life, right? We get that and then we go, oh, that's not enough. And we want the next thing. And I sometimes wonder, where does it stop? When do you stop? Or have you found that in your heart? Have you come to some sort of, it's got to stop?
Yeah, absolutely. I could say that, for instance, I love cars, and so I'll use that as an example where I've gradually over the years driven faster and faster and nicer cars, and I'm a big Audi guy, and then I just realized, I just came to this point where I keep upgrading my car, so I lease my cars, so every 2-3 years I'm changing it. I'm getting something more expensive and even faster, and I realized that even with my current car, that I get bored and of it, and I almost start itching for the next thing. And I realize, well, am I going to just keep buying, an even more and more expensive car? So actually, what I recently did is I ordered a new car that is half the price of my current car, because I realized that it's still going to be pretty fun to drive, still got plenty of power, but it's half the cost, which is significant. So that was just something for me that I had to do to start breaking that cycle. I think one of the other big decisions that Peggy and I made is we decided not to upsize and buy a detached house. We live in Richmond Hill. Here it's just north of Toronto, beautiful neighborhood. And, the detached houses are really expensive, and even more so now. But we made that decision to stay in our townhouse, which it has plenty of room. It's an older townhouse, so definitely a bit more spacious than the newer builds that they do today. But that was huge for us because we don't have a big mortgage, and it's actually just freed us up where we don't have that big financial obligation. And as you may know, if the bigger the house, you just end up just buying more stuff and spending more anyways to maintain it or
No,
improve it.
Calvin. For women, we just have to clean a bigger house.
Yes, that too.
I'm so done. I mean, I can get a cleaning lady, but no, I want to teach my kids how to clean, but it's go
Yeah.
small.
So, but look, I mean, there are times where I say, oh, it would be really nice if we had a bigger house so we could host more people. But we actually, and this is one of those pandemic things. We actually, started doing more in our backyard and getting some patio furniture and just taking advantage of the space that we do have. And I think again, just that sense of contentment and not feeling like we need to keep kind of getting more things, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to go back to the car. Is that a begrudgingly? Are you like, because I mean, I don't know. I have a nice car. My husband's always, doesn't understand. And my car's old, but it's, I like it.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you okay?
I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about it, as I'm sure I'll miss what I have. But at the same time, it's also nice knowing that I don't have this huge car payment every month either, right? So I think that's good too.
So I want to bring up, because I think sometimes people they'll throw this at us, about, and it's totally slipping my mind, but the love of money is the root of all, money is the root of all evil, and it's not. Money is not the root of all evil; it's the love. And people throw that in a Christian's face, right? Because they, you don't want to have money, you want to give it all away, and because I'm like, no, you're reading into that. It's the love, it's the obsession, it's the I want bigger, better. That's where that's not from your heart. And so I appreciate your story. I know, and good luck with the car.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
All right. So, when did you start giving? When did this all start for you, giving generously? Because I think, I've said this before. I'm not afraid. I'm 52, and I'm finding life changing. I'm ready to just stop with keeping up with the, Joneses, as I would just, put in air quotations. But I'm older, and I just wonder, so I want to ask you, because you're younger than me, but when did it start for you? When did you start this journey?
Yeah, so I think so as I mentioned, that journey of generosity, we'll call it a jog for short. That was 2015. So I think that was the turning point, because I was actually expecting some lump sum payments to be made to me from the prior business sale. So it's just perfect time to think about, okay, are we just going to take those lump sum payments and, again, upsize, upgrade, or put it all in our investment portfolio and let it grow even more? Or are we going to maybe consider carving out a bit more of that to make a difference earlier? And I'm a big thing about just, opportunity cost, right? So a lot of people, think, hey, I'm just going to build this huge portfolio, and when I die, I'll donate that to charity. And for me, what I think about is really, and everyone's familiar with compound interest, but they always think about it in terms of financial terms. But I think what they forget about is the impact that our money could have in helping charities, helping, ministries and good work to be done now, and all the lives that could be changed. I'm 39 this year, for reference. So, as I started giving, 7 years ago, in my early 30s, who knows how many more lives I could impact when I'm in my 70s, right? Or whenever I pass. And so I think that was important. I would say, again, it's a journey. We didn't suddenly jump to this huge percentage of our income right away. I think it took time to slowly just start to ramp it up and give more and give more. And I will safely say that, it still hasn't, frankly, reached this point where I've really felt that it hurts to give. And, some people might like, try to do that, but, I don't think and I think part of it is, look, we're really just fortunate to be here in Canada, right? That, and so I think some people think that you have to be rich to be generous, and that's not the case. In fact, I think it actually gets harder as you accumulate more to give that away, when you're richer. So I think, I think it's really just been in small and big things. We've just allowed this extra thought around, do we really need this?
Yep.
Or could we not buy that thing and give more? So.
Yeah, make that decision. Be intentional. So this morning, when you caught me in my pajamas, when we talked for a little bit, you mentioned something about multiple impact. And I looked it up, and it talks, what I found in Wikipedia was theorizing that there are several smaller impacts throughout the course of the Earth's formation.
Oh, okay. That was that's not it.
I'm thinking it's multiple impacts. So tell us what it means to you.
Yes. Yeah. So I am, I have a mentor, someone that I've been journeying with, for years now. His name's Greg Hinzelman, and that's Greg with 2 G's. And, he was actually, part of Power to Change. And then, more recently, he started his, own, kind of organization called Multiplied Impact.
Okay.
And so, it's an organization that's looking to help, professionals and business people, kind of develop a bigger kind of vision and purpose for their lives. And, having that, kind of this ability to start integrating, their faith, their work or their business, their family, and all, their money and all these other aspects, really with this view of potentially a greater purpose. And the way I describe it is, most of us have plans. We make plans. Whether, if you're starting a new business, you're going to have some kind of business plan. If you are saving money and putting money aside, you probably have some type of financial plan or budget. But very few of us, I think, in life have kind of this plan or vision for our lives. Like, what is this impact? What is this legacy that we want to have in the world, when we die? So that's really what Greg and I have been working on. We started a group together with a number of other business guys. Some of them were business owners, some of them were professionals. But we've been journeying together to really explore what it means to be more intentional and to kind of take bigger steps. I think we're all feeling a bit of that status quo, a bit of maybe a bit of stagnation, where we're kind of itching for something more. And I'm sure we all have that feeling at some point, right? We want to feel like that purpose is more than, just our day jobs or what have you. And I think a big part of that, when we get to the multiplied impact part, is, if we can help more people discover more about what it means to integrate all these things together and to have a bigger purpose, a grander purpose, that we can really, have that multiplier effect, which I love. And I'm in building consulting business, for example, I'm a big believer in teaching and training my staff and getting them to kind of that higher level, because frankly, they will bring more value to our clients and to our business. And so I just love that idea of just journeying with other people. Some of them I'm mentoring now who are younger professionals earlier in their careers, and just that ability to start to get them thinking bigger and thinking longer term has been really exciting for them, because they can start to see that connection of where they're at so far and where they would like to be. And again, being more intentional about that. Yeah.
You use the word stagnation. And that word just came and hit me as I think of the last 2.5 years. That's where we've,
yes.
Some of us just feel like we've been living there, and we have to come out of it, and we have to intentionally get out of this, and we have to, and I found myself at a networking event the other day, and I was kind of dumbfounded. I surprised myself, and I had to leave. Like I couldn't. I'm like, I need to meet more people, and but that stagnation you just talked about, I think we're all feeling that. And so, if somebody wants to learn more about multiplied impact, because I don't know how big you are, or is there a website that people can just learn more, or what little steps they can do, how they can multiply their impact?
Yeah, absolutely. So there is a website for Multiplied Impact. I think it's multipliedimpact.com.
Okay.
And actually Greg wrote a book, and it's a book called What Are You Trusting God For? That actually takes people through this exploration and this kind of sense of that, we were created for something bigger and something more purposeful. And just the joy that can come with that, right? Of starting to kind of unleash that potential in each of us. And so there are great resources on that website. I mean, certainly, I'm very reachable on LinkedIn. That's probably the easiest or fastest way to reach me. And, happy to have conversations with people if they want to kind of learn more about that movement. Yeah.
Good. So, over the past many years, I know that you've been involved in Leader Impact, but I just want to ask, how were you, because right now, a lot of groups are meeting online or virtual and it's all, but you've had some involvement with Leader Impact in the past. And I love to share that, because I think there's different ways that people can get involved. So tell us a little bit about your involvement.
Yeah. So I have actually visited with a Leader Impact group here in the kind of the York region, where I'm in. But I actually, have connected with Leader Impact in a few other ways. One is on that consulting side, as they think about technology to manage this growing group of all these business people and professionals, not just in Canada, but globally. It's a big movement, and more people are getting involved. So, I've certainly been trying to give back some of my kind of skills there, just to advise on ways that they can leverage technology for that purpose. My father, Peter, is actually actively involved in Leader Impact as well. in BC. So I've been supporting him financially too, as well as supporting the, kind of the Leader Impact kind of national fund. Yeah.
That's funny because I just got an email and saw your dad's name on it. Or actually I saw Peter Quek and I'm like, oh, I wonder if that's related to Calvin. I didn't even put it together.
Yeah.
Yeah. He gave us some advice. So that's good. So I just want to talk about, any group because Leader Impact has groups and, we meet around the world and anyone can join. They're free to join. We do amazing studies, but I'd like you to give some advice just to joining a group. If it, whatever group it is, and I mean, we would love you to join ours, but just why is it important to join a group?
Yeah. So I think that, certainly, for instance, during the pandemic, I think we all realized that, when you're locked down, you can't even leave your house, except for essentials, that it can get pretty lonely.
Yeah.
And, I think one of the things that's really sustained me in terms of that, community and connection is being part of a group, right? So I am part of a couple groups, one of that group is with these other Christian business people and professionals. And so they, our ability to just connect, regularly touch base, share what's going on with our businesses, work, kind of definitely explore something spiritually and finding ways to grow, finding ways to give back. I think that's been just really beneficial for me personally and for one another. Just back to the sense of, like we want to keep growing, we want to keep learning. And, what better way than to learn from others? And sometimes, we may be in different industries, different kinds of jobs, but it's actually really cool to kind of see how we can each be used in different ways, just where we have been placed.
That's a great answer. Well done. All right. Well, I always ask my guests 2 final questions. So you're going to get it. Leader Impact is about your impact through your leadership. So and you talked a little bit, we talked a little about legacy, but have you considered the legacy you want to leave, your faith legacy, when you leave this world?
Yeah. So, and that is definitely something I've been working on and fine tuning as part of my kind of time with Greg as a mentor. And so I would say for me, it's really, I want to use my skills and experience in technology to help nonprofits and ministries be more effective and be more efficient. Right now, it started with more consulting and kind of one-to-one. But my hope is one day, soon I'll be able to start building products and solutions that, where I can actually deploy to many nonprofits at once. So this kind of this one-to-many or that multiplier effect. So I'd love to develop, products or apps that, nonprofits could use to, again, to do more, because a lot of them just lack the resources internally to actually invest in, R&D and business improvements and process improvements. So I think a more, kind of scalable way, and for me to have a bigger impact, is to start designing solutions that benefit, many organizations and not just one at a time.
Yeah. I love, just the whole concept of use your skills, your talents to make a difference. So great legacy you will leave, Calvin. And my final question, to which I ask everybody, is what brings you joy?
Oh, yeah, lots of things bring me joy. Definitely giving. I'd be remiss to say that, giving and has always brought joy. And just to see things like, for instance, a well in Africa and seeing a whole village getting access to clean water, that brings tons of joy. But selfishly or more personally, I'm a big foodie, so love to eat. Being in Toronto is great because we experience many, many different cultures of food, and so that's been great. And so I think the other piece of that is travel. I'm very much looking forward to traveling again with the family and going to experience different places, different cultures, and most importantly, their food. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Calvin. It has been fun to spend the last 40 plus minutes with you and just hearing a little bit more about you and your involvement with Journey of Generosity, right? Journey of Generosity.
That's right.
Yeah. Amazing. And I appreciate you just using your time, your talent to share with us and with the groups around you, because I believe everyone has talent and we just have to find it and we can share. And that's how we will make impact. So thank you. It has been a pleasure.
All right. Thanks, Lisa.
So now this ends our podcast with you, but if anybody wants to get in touch with you, engage with you in any way, where can they find you? You had mentioned LinkedIn. Is that probably the best spot, or?
Yeah, that's definitely probably the fastest way to reach me is on LinkedIn, and I'm pretty active there and in networking and messaging. So yeah, reach out that way.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Calvin. It's been awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Well, if you are part of Leader Impact, you can always discuss or share this podcast with your group. And if you are not yet in a Leader Impact group, we would love to have you. So check out our groups available in Canada at leaderimpact.ca. Or if you're listening from anywhere else in the world, check out leaderimpact.com or get in touch with us by email info@leaderimpact.ca and we will connect you. And if you like this podcast, please leave us a comment, give us a rating or review. This will help other global leaders find our podcast. Thank you for engaging with us. And remember, impact starts with you.